Hello, our project is called Interact. Our rapper is Ashley, I'm Bergen, and this is Kassan. And this is an image of the show we designed our app to work with. So Ashley's research at the Drama Center is about how an audience can be more intensely engaged in a performance experience. The goal of our app was to use augmented reality to help the audience interact with and create a greater depth of experience and understanding of the performance.
We chose the departmental show as a test case for developing our app. Death Clowns in Guantanamo Bay was something I was directing, and its creative director was keen to have the audience explore the set beforehand. The topic of the show, torture, death, and the impossible necessity of communicating suffering, as well as not really knowing what was actually happening, seemed like a good fit with augmented reality.
Our app was meant to be used with the, there was 20-minute museum time at the beginning of the show that the users can interact with the actual set and the props of the show, where they use their camera to scan the objects and actually get a reaction. That 20-minute time was meant to make people more comfortable and more complicit with the action. And we hope that our app would increase the level of comfort and their complacence. The app would recognize a different object and would have 3 different reactions to each of these objects. The objects are the randomized lizard, the force-feeding chair, and the waterboarding teeter-totter. Those will be discussed next, and we will show you what they actually show. For now, this is a short list of diagram of our app. The login screen, user can log in, enter username and password, his username and age. They'll get a explanation telling the user that how to use the app by showing, telling them to aim the camera at the objects and what will happen. This will, once they've done that, they will get an image. The image tracker will start, and as they scan using their camera, the library will be used to match the images to the data that we have. And when an image is tracked, the response will come up and will be shown on the screen.
So, please explain the lizard. Ooh. Okay, I will. The Cuban rock lizard is a protected species, and interfering with it on Guantanamo Bay in any way can incur a fine of up to $10,000. So the playwrights felt that having the lizard as a prominent feature in the play was a good way to illustrate the inversion of human rights. So the lizard is protected, but the humans are not. The lizard was made central to the stage production. Oh, can you turn off the light for a second? You can sort of see him here and here. And he was in the way. Twice in the show, actors accidentally touched the lizard and an alarm went off. The idea of an interfering lizard was then extended into the app. So this is the demo of the lizard that came up on the login screen. A moving lizard appeared on the login page, as well as popping up randomly during the user's interactions with other pieces on the set. When the user touched the lizard, the phone would vibrate to indicate that it was not allowed. You were not supposed to do this.
Yeah. So the force-feeding chair was used at the camp to make prisoners that were on hunger strike. It was used to feed them against their will. And what happened was the prisoner would be strapped down and they would be fed a milkshake through a nasal drip. The play's force-feeding machine was comically exaggerated. There were extra wires and tubes all around, and there were clowns manning it. And the clowns gloried on the feeding of mini marshmallows to dummy, and sort of created a heightened sense of macabre. And the scene is the turning point of the play. For the app, when the force-feeding chair was scanned, the app gave the user a choice of milkshake flavor. Once the user chose a flavor, then, however, the screen would slowly fill up with a colorful liquid to indicate that the user has chosen to force-feed themselves the milkshake. So, we'll move to the demos.
So you see the user can pick any of the strawberries, and I'll actually show you what happens as a reaction. The screen would then keep filling up with the color until it's fully covered.
And then we reset.
And when they set, at the end of the production, when it became more serious, sorry, looking at this one. When the chair is recognized, we would give the user experience of being actually waterboarded and being placed underwater.
Oh, random lizard.
It's not.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
It's for some reason. Just put it on this. There we go. We have a backup for that. There. So it's too fast for the screen, but actually you can see that it's waterboarding the camera, and you feel like you're underwater.
Initially, our project was more complex. We had more effects, but we had to cut them mostly due to our tight schedule, but also our difficulties with euphoria. So we had a cage effect that we wanted to put something in this cage, but euphoria had difficulty recognizing the repetitive patterns. The balcony message. We wanted to have the phone send a message to users when they went upstairs that says, "Can you see?" to emphasize that the detainees were always around the ocean, but they could never see. It was to lead them to look through a tiny peephole to see the sea. However, we couldn't get the GPS to distinguish between the first floor and the second floor. And we also had a residual creepy message that was going to come up a week after the show, but we had to cut it mostly due to time constraints. We were running on a really short time frame. Our opening day was March 21st.
So we had issues developing this app, and mainly was with the actual library that we used. The issue was that it worked very well as you can see with posters, but not with actual 3D objects and chairs. It wouldn't work because of lighting and because of changes of perspective.
Yeah, and so due to time constraints, we basically ended up using markers to convert the drawing on because they were easier to track. The markers provide high contrast areas on a flat surface, and we just attached them to the exhibits.
If we could do it again, we would use more markers to create more interactive reactions, maybe placing them in corners of the boxes, and we would create a more interactive user interface as opposed to just simple reactions. What's going to happen next? We would like to learn what we applied to this project to another show. We'd like to find a program that works better than Euphoria with 3D items, and the idea of developing a template that could be modified by other theater companies based on their shows. Thank you.
One question. Just curious about what was the response? Did you find out?
Generally, we only were able to use this on Android, so I had some good responses from people in terms of thinking it was a really cool, neat way to interact with stuff in the pre-show. But because we didn't have as many reactions as we thought, I don't think that we got the response that we wanted. But yeah, I think generally people were very responsive to the idea. I think it took longer for us to get it going. Yes, aggressive charge.
Speaking of which,
Yep.